slowly dead hang, retract, just focus on pulling from my lats, right? Again, trying to take out the biceps, the forearms, just focusing on my lats, right? And you might think, oh, we're recruiting just type 2 muscle fibers.
None of y'all stopping me, don't need to ask. Chopping trees, planting seeds, plotting schemes, crossing lines, dotting T's. Lines are blurred, I cannot see. Before I die, I'm top 3. Before I die, I'm top 3.
He's telling me how many reps I gotta do. Okay? Okay? What is going on, YouTube? You already know you are back with the Prez. We're in Juniper Park today. Today I'm not going to be bringing you a workout video, but I'm going to be talking to you guys, touching off of my last video that I just posted about rep range training. Today's video is going to be specifically talking about the benefits and the purpose of high rep range training. And when I talk about high rep ranges, I'm talking about in that 15 to 30 rep range mark. Because remember, like I said in the initial video, hypertrophy occurs across a variety of rep ranges, from as low as 5 repetitions to as high as 30, and some studies show that you could be building muscle higher than 30 reps. And you can literally look at people that do high volume calisthenics, prisoners, they do a lot of high rep body weight stuff. So that just shows that that 30 rep range that they see in studies is probably not the max rep range where you're going to stimulate muscle growth. But just for today's purposes, we're going to just talk about rep ranges being hypertrophic from that 5 to 30 rep range. And we're going to classify low rep training, like we classified in the previous video, of reps falling anywhere in that 3 to 8 rep range. And now, like I said, we're going to classify high rep training as reps falling in that 15 to 30 rep range. All still effective for muscle building. It's not like low rep training is better than high rep training, or high rep training is better than low rep training. They're both going to stimulate an equal amount of muscle. Given, remember, the key principle of muscle building is that those sets have to be taken to failure, and if not to failure, close to failure, meaning those last 1 to 2 reps that you have in your set, you wouldn't be able to get 1 or 2 more, right? The last 1 to 2 reps are pretty much going to be a struggle, and you could either fail on a rep, or again, you could put that weight away or stop your set with maybe 1 to 2 reps left max in the tank. That's intensity. That's taking the set to or close to failure, which is going to produce the most stimulating repetitions possible. Now, if you remember, if you watched my previous video talking about low rep training, I also spoke about the muscle fiber types. Remember, whether you're a man, a woman, a child, an adult, a senior citizen, every human body has 2 muscle fiber types. We have type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers. Type 1 muscle fibers are more endurance based. Think about somebody that just jogs all the time, not a muscular person at all. They may not even be in great shape, but they could run a lot. They could do a lot of jogging. They don't have a lot of muscle mass, but they have a lot of endurance. That's because they predominantly work and train the type 1 muscle fibers. There's no high load, there's no high stimulus to fatigue ratio. It's just building up endurance in those muscle fibers, which in turn builds up more mitochondria and things like that in the muscle fibers. Now, type 2 muscle fibers, like I spoke about, those are the muscle fibers that are responsible for being broken down and being built back bigger and stronger, increasing the cross-sectional area of the fiber. Meaning, literally, a fiber might look like my pinky one day, and the next month it might be as thick as my ring finger. And then over time, it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger as long as you keep producing a stimulus in order for it to get bigger and stronger. Meaning, increasing your weight, increasing your repetitions over time. So, like I said, the video today is going to specifically talk about 15 to 30 rep ranges. As opposed to low rep ranges, like I said, remember, when you're training in that 3 to 6, 3 to 8 rep range, pretty much from rep 1 up until you start to fail around that 6 to 8 rep range mark, every rep is going to be predominantly hard, right? It's not going to be like it's going to be an easy rep, because remember, when the reps are low, the intensity, meaning the load, has to be high. You're not going to do a hard set with light weight, right? It's just not going to work for you, right? If it's a light weight, it's going to be easy for you. You're going to be able to do multiple repetitions with it. If the weight is high, if the stimulus is high, if the mechanical tension on the muscle is high, inevitably the reps are going to fall in that lower rep range, and you're going to stimulate the type 2 muscle fibers from the jump, eliminating what people call junk volume. Now, I'm not saying reps 1 to 14 are junk volume. It all depends on the exercise that you're choosing. Like I talked about previously, remember, low rep ranges are more suited for more compound movements, more movements where you're going to be able to recruit multiple muscle groups in order to move that weight from point A to point B. Now we're talking about that higher rep range. Like I also explained, it's going to have more of a mind-muscle connection effect. The reps could be slower. The intensity is going to be dramatically lower because the set itself is going to take longer. The time under tension is going to be longer. A set of 5 to 6 reps, when you're moving the weight as explosively and as fast as possible, when it's that heavy, might take, like I said, maybe 20 to 30 seconds. You do a set of 15 controlled reps with a tempo, 3 second down, 1 second pause, 1 second up. So the reps taking 5 seconds alone, you do a set of 15, that's gonna take over 60 seconds to complete the one set. A lot greater time under tension. You're building up a lot more metabolites, meaning you're building up more lactic acid. You're increasing the blood flow to the muscle. Like I spoke about previously, some might say the low rep range training with the heavy weights produces that hard granite look, and the high rep training produces more of a pump or a swole look. Both are building muscle, and that's correct though to a point. When you are training with higher rep ranges, you are increasing the blood flow. You are getting a better pump. You're getting more metabolites to that muscle, and you're also tapping into more anaerobic endurance. Because remember, type 2 fibers have type 2A and type 2B components. Type 2A are more endurance focused. Not saying they're not going to build muscle, but they are more endurance focused. Type 2B are going to be more prone, like I said, to that breakdown and increase of that cross-sectional area. So those are the fibers that are really going to be breaking down when the set gets hard. So if you're doing a set, like I said, let's say we're doing a set of 30 dips. The first 20 might be pretty easy for you. Now you get to rep 22, 23, they start to slow down. By rep 25, 26, you might have to start pausing on top. You know, really forcing out a lot more energy, a lot more contraction of the muscle. Now that's when you start stimulating those type 2 fibers. But it took you 20 prior reps to do it. Some might, like I said, consider that junk volume, but that's just what's really increasing the blood flow and the metabolites to the muscle. That's what's going to produce the pump. So like I said, with low rep training, it's more suited when you're doing compound movements. Thinking calisthenics, weighted pull-ups, weighted dips. Now think about high rep training. Yes, you'll see people doing 30 rep pull-ups, 60 rep dips. You see me do them. But again, that's more just moving as fast as I can. I'm not really trying to do a set of 60 dips with a slow tempo, right? If I'm doing slow tempo dips, I'll make myself fall in that 15 to 30 rep range. Because again, like I said, 15 reps with a 5-second count is going to take over 1 minute. 5 reps with a 1 second count, if I'm just pulling as fast as I can with heavy weight, it's going to take me 15 seconds max. So the time under tension a lot higher with the higher volume training. Also, you're going to get that conditioning aspect. Like I said, remember they have the type 2A and type 2B. Type 2A is going to produce a little more endurance benefits, and it's going to help you build up that anaerobic endurance. You want to be a well-rounded calisthenic athlete, you can't just hit heavy weights. You got to be able to rep and set, because most calisthenic tournaments are comprised of reps and sets. There's not many heavy street lifting tournaments around, especially here in the USA. So think about high rep training as easier exercises, push-ups, or again, if you're at the level to do weighted pull-ups or weighted dips, an easier variation is obviously going to be body weight. That's when you can focus on slow and controlled tempo, increasing the time under tension. Think about easier variations. If you're in the gym weightlifting, you would think now high repetitions, more with cable movements, more isolation movements. Remember, compound movements are multi-joint movements. Isolation movements are single joint movements. Think about a bicep curl, like I told you, a ring curl. Or if I'm doing like a tricep extension, seated row. A seated row is going to be a compound movement, but again, you're not going to have that stability aspect of doing a compound movement. Your body's going to be fixed. All we're moving is our limbs through space, so we could, pick a lower intensity, meaning load, and hit that volume. Nice long eccentrics, squeezing each repetition, building up that time under tension, building up those metabolites, getting a bigger pump. So think about more isolation or just easier movements in general. They're going to be better suited for that high rep range training. And like I said, you're also going to get that conditioning aspect. Think about a 50-100, 50 pulls, 100 push, 5-minute drill calisthenics. You don't see anybody doing a 50-100 with tempo pull-ups or tempo push-ups, right? Everything is bang, 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 right? We're just repping out as quick and as powerful as we can. Remember, the first 30 repetitions on the pulls might be relatively easy, but when you're trying to hit that 50, in that 2-minute mark and then get to the push-ups to finish it under 5, those last 30 reps, 20 reps, they're going to be hard. They're going to start producing those type 2 muscle fibers, but that's what you build up with your calisthenic training, right? You're not going to be a beginner and be able to hit a 50-100 in 5 minutes. It takes years of training and years of practice to get to that level. But over time, you just keep increasing your work capacity, the more volume that you can increase over time, right? So remember, I told you this, guys, there's no difference in building muscle, whether you want to decide to train the 5-rep range or the 30-rep range. It just comes down to your overall goals. The higher rep ranges are going to be, again, more suited for easier exercises or easier variations of movements. The low rep ranges, because remember, they're going to predominantly always be multi-jointed, compound movement. They're going to fatigue not only the target muscle group, but other muscle groups as well. And the goal when moving heavy weight is to get it from A to B as quick as possible, not working on that mind-muscle connection. With the high rep period, with the high reps, it gives you a better stimulus of that mind-muscle connection. So if somebody, like I demonstrated for pull-ups, right? Remember, body weight pull-ups. Let's go back to the same demo from the low rep. Now, if I want to make body weight pull-ups hard, remember, I could do a 10-second rep, right? I could fully dead hang, retract, just focus on pulling from my lats, right? Again, trying to take out the biceps, the forearms, just focusing on my lats, right? And you might think, oh, we're recruiting just type 2 muscle fibers, because I might only be able to get maybe 8 repetitions like that, the 10-second rep. But the difference is the mechanical tension is not there. Your body knows that. So when the weights are heavy, when the load is heavy, you're going to be forced to produce max force output right away. That was body weight. My body knows it's my body weight. I'm forcing the repetitions to slow down. I'm just increasing time under tension there. So remember, guys, you could do body weight reps, make them harder, thinking you're going to be stimulating, more of that strength of those type 2 muscle fibers. But a set like that, if you're doing a 60-second pull set, yes, you're going to build strength, but you're also going to be building a ton of endurance and a ton of conditioning. So I hope this video gave a little clarification from the previous video about the low rep training. And remember, you should phase them both into your routine. Spend a few weeks training high reps, spend a few weeks training low reps. The stronger you get at low rep training, the more reps you're going to be able to produce at high reps with different intensities, right? So they play off each other. But if you're looking for, a main goal, stick to 1 rep range for a period of time, get good at it, and once you start to, plateau, that's when it's time to jump out of that rep range and move to something else. Like always, guys, I appreciate the support. If you're not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button. If you have a comment or question, leave it in the comment section. I always get back to you guys. Like the video, helps drag them out. And like always, guys, peace out. BARNATURALS.
No sad story, I ain't here for a symphony, no sympathy. When I was on the bench, you wouldn't sit with me. Now I'm on the court and I'm balling, my time's coming.